Hey guys, so we're doing something a little bit different today. The Sondors Metacycle just started Deliveries, and I came across this video on YouTube. It's one of the first delivered Metacycles, and he does a walk around, so I thought we could watch it together. Of course, this is an e-bike channel, I'm very familiar with that, so I can give you guys my thoughts as we go through it. Now, before jumping into this video, let's quickly go over the basics of what's going on. So this story by Electric updated August 3rd, and that is when it looks like the deliveries of the Metacycle started to happen. It also says that there's some visible changes from the prototype, so I'm excited to see what it looks like in the actual video. And the starting price was $5,000. If you come to their official website and hit order now, it's $6,000. But right up top, we can see that the peak power of the motor is 14.5 kilowatts. It is 72 volts. It has a 4,000 watt hour battery, and it uses a PMAC hub motor. And after some quick Googling, this is a permanent magnet AC motor. My next logical question was, which is better, an AC or a DC motor? And I got this answer from Google. So AC motors are generally considered to be more powerful than DC motors because they can generate higher torque by using a more powerful current. However, DC motors are typically more efficient and make better use of their input energy. And if we come down to the rest of the specifications here, it offers 80 miles of range on a single charge. The power of that motor is a nominal 8,000 watts and a peak of 14,500 watts or 14.5 kilowatts. The battery is 4,000 watt hours, and fun fact, because the nominal power is double that, if you're like on the highway, say, and you're just kind of pinning it, that means you can run the system for only 30 minutes. That's why consistently going the top speed, which is 80 miles an hour, isn't usually a great idea. And it has 80 foot-pounds of torque with a peak of 130. Now, most e-bike motors give you this number in Newton meters, so if you do a quick conversion, that's an equivalent of 108 Newton meters of torque, and the peak was, what, 130? So that's 176, and that's actually a pretty solid number. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's watch this video together. I will be pausing it to give you guys my reactions. And of course, the whole video will be linked down below if you guys want to watch it.
Alright, so here it is, the Metacycle by Sondors.
Okay, first things first, the aesthetics of the bike are very sleek and modern. I like it. It is kind of polarizing, but in terms of the actual utility of the bike, it is full suspension, but it's very much so a city motorcycle. You can tell by the tires, even the ground clearance. It looks like there's 7 inches of ground clearance, and if you sit on the bike and the suspension compresses, that's even less. So this is definitely not made for off-roading. Even the fenders, front and back, there's not a lot of coverage.
I've put about, I want to say 30 miles on it so far.
Yeah, and a quick note on the motor. I mean, it didn't say it on the website, but just based off of my experience and how it looks, it seems to be direct drive. And again, considering it's an on-road, it goes 80 miles an hour, that makes sense to be direct drive. Also, as far as I could tell, the whole thing is made out of aluminum and there's a massive hole in it, so it should be pretty lightweight. Okay, it's 200 pounds. The Sondors Metacycle weighs a very light 200 pounds, achieved by constructing the chassis out of a single piece of aluminum. Well, also, the battery counts for 54 pounds of that weight.
It's a beautiful bike. This is tubeless tires, spoke wheels, and this is their design.
If I scrub back a little bit in the video, we can see what appears to be cooling, air ventilation for the battery and all the electrical components. And that's nice to see, because running 14.5 kilowatts is definitely going to generate a lot of heat in the system, especially if you live in a hot environment. It might even have some fans on the inside, so I'm glad to see that proactive approach. I don't see any cooling visibly on the hub motor, but I'm sure it probably does have some kind of staid rate on the inside to help with that. But also the bike is super lightweight, 200 pounds, so hopefully heating isn't an issue. It also looks like we have an inverted motorcycle fork, which makes a lot of sense. The travel isn't that massive as far as I can tell in this video. It is dual clamp at the top and bottom of the header tube, and it appears that we have full LED lights front and back. Of course, we have high beams, low beams, turn signals, all the stuff that makes this street legal. Yeah, so that's a good look at the hub motor. And yeah, leave a comment down below, but that definitely looks to be a direct drive motor. The brake rotor, these are hydraulic disc brakes front and back. The front rotor is a lot larger than the rear one, but again, it's a super lightweight bike, so I'm sure the stopping power is more than adequate.
Okay, so here's the thing. This is the charger. That's the new. I'll do a video on that. This is the battery right here. There's no way to detach the battery. See, in the video that Sondors put, the guy put the key in here to unlock it and then pull it out. But there, I don't see anywhere.
That's interesting. Yeah, it was definitely advertised as having a removable battery. The guy did say he just got the bike, so maybe he's just overlooking how to remove the battery. But if it doesn't have a removable battery, that's kind of a problem because not everybody could charge the bike where they park it outside. And also, the battery seems to protrude on both sides by a couple of inches.
Pegs.
Oh my gosh, those are the wimpiest foot pegs I'd ever seen on a motorcycle. It's bolted on, and that hinge does not look sturdy at all. And here's a close-up of that bench seat. And yeah, leave a comment below. Does that look comfortable to you? Especially back here, it's very thin. Oh, and I just noticed there's a hole within the hull of the bike. I guess that's for added weight savings. But again, we can see the fender in the front doesn't cover the wheel adequately. So if you're riding in the rain and the mud, water is definitely going to get up into this section of the bike.
All right, let's turn this thing on. My keys are in here.
Okay, so that's a look at the cubby on the inside. That's cool. That's a very handy feature. I like to see that. Also, the handlebar I saw before, it's a direct mount, which is nice. I think that's standard on motorcycles, but on e-bikes, that's not the case, unfortunately.
All right, so let's turn it on. Press this. So it shows how many miles I've.
Okay, so it's a very sleek looking bike from the position of sitting on it. I like that with the cubby, the power button right there. And the screen has massive bezels, like it's 2008 all over again. And the information is kind of basic. We got the speed here. I guess this is also speed. I don't think it's RPMs. We have the odometer over here. I'm sure you can cycle through trips and all that kind of stuff. And this looks to be a temperature gauge for that battery.
This thing didn't come with a manual, so I'm trying to figure everything out right now.
It doesn't come with a manual. That's very modern of them. But I mean, yeah, overall, the steering column seems to be pretty clean, right? We have basic controls. We have the reservoir for the hydraulic brake fluid. A pretty minimalist screen. I do wish the screen was a bit more detailed and pleasant to look at. We have that nice storage cubby that's just off screen here, that double clamp fork, direct mount handlebar, and it seems to have about a 2-inch rise to it. So it's definitely a pretty low, sporty seating position. Okay, yeah, so that's a first look at the Sondors Metacycle. Again, I'll leave this full video link down below if you guys want to give it a watch. But that's my first impressions of this pretty groundbreaking electric motorcycle that's just beginning to ship now. I do like how lightweight and nimble the design of this bike is, being only 200 pounds, made out of a single block of aluminum. The motor appears to be plenty powerful with over 100 newton meters of torque, well over 100 newton meters of torque. And take a look at that front disc brake. That thing is massive. I'm sure the stopping power is excellent with this bike. I certainly hope the battery is indeed removable. If it's not, that's definitely a pain. And speaking of painful things, that seat doesn't look super comfortable. Now, personally, I do not plan on picking up this motorcycle because I'm not really a city person, and as mentioned, this is definitely an urban commuting vehicle. I would not try to take this off-road, considering the ground clearance, the lack of significant fenders, and the tires. These are slick city street tires. And definitely leave a comment down below on what you think of this groundbreaking bike. If you're still watching and enjoyed, leave the video a like, and maybe I can do more content like this in the future. But until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.